Off-Road Guy here, and today I'm going to be showing you the Stage 8 Dana 60 locking bolts for the, this is for the rear axle. They also make a kit for the 14 bolt, which it's a completely different kit, but today I'm going to be showing you how it looks on the truck. I'm going to be installing it and just showing you it. So this is probably, it's going to be a pretty quick video since there's not much to it. I've had a problem in the past with my bolts loosening up on the rear axle. I don't know if it's because the axle is really old. I mean, I bought it for really cheap. It was only like 40 bucks I bought it for. And I gutted it, and the only thing I used was the axle housing in the hubs, in the, you know, the carrier bearings on the inside, but everything else I stripped down and unbolted and threw in the scrap metal bin. But I've had a problem with the bolts loosening up. Right after I got it installed in the truck, I noticed I had an oil leak, and then I noticed the bolts were loose. I have lock washers. I replaced the bolts, replaced the lock washers, and they always seem to loosen up. And so what I did to solve the problem originally was I took in, as you can see, the safety wires on the bolts. I took and drilled the bolts and ended up just taking a stainless steel safety wire and wiring them together, and that worked out for me quite well. The only downfall of this is that, like the driver's side I've had a problem. I've had to replace the seal 2 or 3 times over the last few years because it'd start leaking after, you know, a year or two. Like I said, I didn't pay much for the axle, so I'm thinking it's just working out the little kinks with it. Once I safety wired these, it stopped that problem, but the other problem was every time I had to replace the seal, I have to take and cut the safety wires, and then re-safety wiring is it's a little bit of a task. It just takes, it takes time to do it right and keep them, so it's... Alright, this is how I'm doing it. I'm initially torquing them to 80 foot-pounds. And then you take and go on here and check and see how this one's just a little bit off. And this one is way off. So this one, 80, I'm going to work my way up 5 foot-pounds at a time, since this one is not that far off. Let's see how much closer we got on that one. She's almost, so I bet if do 85 on that one. Let's see how. So over this one, 85. Let's do 90 on that one. Yeah, we. Alright, it is. That one's pretty far off still. At 90. So I'm going to zoom that one up to 100 already. Yeah, see how much. So let's do 105 on this one. Yeah, we're getting pretty close on that one. Go 110. Mm. 115. Yep, there we go. Slid on. So I did I think it was 90 on that one and 115 on the other to get it lined up. And the other thing I've done with these, if you look at the difference, I've taken polished them too. See how this one's shiny? So I think they just take and stamp this out of stainless steel and out of a stainless steel sheet and then send it to us. So I figured I'd make it a little nicer looking and took some fine grit sandpaper, I think like 600 grit, and wet sanded it so that it gives it a little shine instead of the dull and there they all are, all installed. Not much to it. The torque I got from the internet is because I can't find this axle isn't original to my Blazer, and so the torque I got was off the internet was between 80 and 120. So basically I started at the low torque spec I found and worked my way up to the high side to get it to line up to get the 12. And I thought at first it kind of was sucky that they made it a 12 point bolt, because most of my sockets are 6 point. But now that I see, now that I've installed it, if they would have made it 6 point, so I definitely understand now why they made it 12 point. Because yeah, I went and bought a special socket just for these bolts I'm going to put in my tool bag in the truck.